Because you're always going to be compared to your father as a junior, you know, and most of us try to deal with the Oedipal thing on some level, right? And, but this is a man who became a master in his own right as a saxophonist, you know, and he worked with his father, you know. But you know, like I would say at this point in time, Renee McLean is a master musician right now. You know, he's at the level where he can. You know, I was just talking to J.D. Parent, who also a masterful improviser. We were talking about Renee. You know, he just heard him. I think it was at one of the funerals or something. Maybe it was for Abby Lincoln, and he just played one chorus around midnight. You know, and he didn't have to take the improv. He just played the head down, and that was it. That was all that was needed. He said it all like that, and that's a level of musicianship that everybody doesn't have, right? So like they say, well, what's the difference in a good musician and a great musician? You know, a good musician plays complicated things pretty good. But a great musician can play simple things magnificently, right? And so that's what I would say, that he has attained that level of musicianship.
And as you notice, and it's in your writings, your liner notes on the album, Anton Roney, Latino, and the Koffel. How do you feel about that work?
Anton is another vastly underrated musician, perhaps because his brother is so famous, you know. But Antoine is, you know, he has what I call that black sound, that black thing in his playing, you know. And he is as technically adept as anybody. All of the you know, the people who are known for having all the time. I won't name any names because I don't want to denigrate anyone. But he's equal to them without having to display it unnecessarily. It's not like, okay, now I'm going to prove to you I can play fast, I can do this, I can do that. Like some people do, you know, who are great in their own right. Also, I don't want to denigrate them. Please understand me. But I think there's a kind of maturity that he has that people with that type of dexterity don't always show. You know, and so it's unfortunate that he lives in the shadow of more famous people. But again, you know, an uncommonly gifted musician. Yeah.
What would you say about the vocal work of Yolanda Lee and the supporting sisters that came out of Jamaica now that come from the studios? How do you feel about her contribution?
I think it was all superb. You know, Yolanda Lee is obviously going to be someone that I hope you hear more from. You know, I wasn't familiar with her work before, but she has a rich voice, you know, and it evokes the spirit of the song, you know, and this is what you want. I thought it was beautiful.
And just touch on one more musician, delayed Baba Chief Bey.
Well, what can you say about Baba Bey? He is a giant, again, in our culture. I was just talking to Atiba, and he was telling me, I don't know if this is true, maybe you would know, that the system of tuning the djembe where you use the ropes to pull it was invented by Chief Bey?
It was invented by Chief Bey. We call it no-hold system.
Okay.
And the djembe, when it started to come over here, basically had some of the dance companies were coming over, like Valley African, for example, with the djembe back in the 50s and 60s, they would use the traditional way of stringing up the head by putting holes in the skin. And the rope was also made out of the gut or skin of the animals also. As you know, the djembe originates in Mali, the ancient empire of Mali. And that was the system. Now, when they came over here, they had a problem with tuning the drum because of the weather conditions. So they would use heating plates. And so the rest of us did over here too, because we wanted to copy what our brothers and sisters were doing from the continent when they were introducing, you know, my father and Bey and all of them. But what Bey did, and I have this on video, I interviewed him. I haven't released it yet. He said, he told me, he looked at a Kunga drum one day and got some ideas. Now, he was in the Navy. And the master of knots. All right. We just talking about the djembe. We're not going to talk about the ashiko or the batai drums. Stringing up. That's Bay also. All the stringing of the shekere and the akbe.
Is that right?
Yes. Now, what he did was he created a system where you can use 3 rings and rope and get the drum at that right pitch that you needed it at. And it would stay there. It wouldn't go down if it was damp or humid. You know. And he taught that to a few musicians that he was training, such as Neil Clark.
Okay.
You know, such as the late Lucas Wiles. You know, such as others, and then it just spread from there. When the brothers came over here from the continent, when they saw the drummers going over like Neil, I know when he was with Belafonte, he was traveling around, they saw that system, they wanted it. So they reclaimed it. And now, almost every single drum that you see come over here from the continent now is using Chief Bay's method of stringing that drum. And people learned that when he was in my group.
Okay.
He was right there with
This
that.
means Chief Bay is in the echelon of Baby Dodds in terms of being an innovator in the drumming, the African American drumming tradition. You know, and so that's almost magical.
And then his connection with Blakey too.
Yeah, right.